Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of 50 Conversations with 50 Strangers. That episode title has to change, and I can't figure out what to change it to because we're at like 87 conversations that we've had in the last 4 weeks. It's like people are coming out of nowhere, everywhere, somewhere, God knows where, to have these conversations, and I'm loving it. In fact, the lovely woman that I'm speaking to today, and her name happens to be Lovely, is from India. And so she is talking to us. It's 12:18 here in San Diego, and she's 12 and a half hours ahead of us. So she's talking to us at quarter of one in the morning in India. I'm not sure what part of India you're from, but
Yeah, yeah.
where are you from?
Gurgaon, Haryana.
Okay. So it imagine the commitment that it takes just to have the um, the beautiful willingness to talk to a stranger at quarter of one in the morning, right? So I want to thank you for staying up, for being here, for making times work. These time zones are crazy things that we put up with. Lovely, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I am doing great. In fact, it's lovely to be connected with you and speaking to you.
Thank you. You had a couple of questions of why I was doing this, and I just wanted to address them on air rather than off air. Because the show is being sponsored by the book Over My Left Shoulder, The Mosaic.
Mhm.
And The Mosaic is a story about a boy who loses his parents 2 years apart on the same day. And when he asks the adults where his parents are, they tell him they're in a place called heaven. So he sets out in search of the place called heaven. But the people he meets are not the people that you would think he'd meet. He doesn't meet the swamis and the gurus and the shamans and the Aborigines elders and the medicine men and women. He meets common ordinary people. He meets the homeless man and the blind woman. He meets the road worker and the street artist. He meets the juice man and the gardener and the waitress and the flower girl. And he wonders, why am I meeting these people? Of all people, why am I meeting these people? What are they going to show me about heaven? But he thinks, I don't have anything else to do. I'm here. I'm meeting with them. I might as well sit with them and just listen to them tell their stories. Lovely in every single case, when he sat and listened to them tell the stories, the person he was sitting with was 100,000 times different than the first person he came up to. And he realized, hold it, when it happened over and over and over again, do I see anything the way it is? Or do I see everything the way I am? I saw those people the way I saw them. But when I sat with them, I saw they were totally different. What else in this world would be different if I would get my first impressions out of the way? If I would slide to the left and see the world that exists in front of me without me coming in the way? It was then that he looked to his right and he saw a monk unzipping the sky and inviting him through to a parallel reality where he met the wise one who was the keeper of the mosaic. The story is a beautiful story. But what it asked me to do after I finished writing it was to go out and do what Mo did. And I had gone on the road when I was 18, but now I'm 65. And I fought thinking I've got to find sponsors, I got to find just the right van, I got to find people to house me, I got to do all this stuff. I put all these blockages in my way because I was just scared. I was scared that my body wasn't strong enough to do it. I was scared that I was too old now to do it. I had lost some of my initial je ne sais quoi. And so I decided I was going to leave I decided I was going to leave April 30th because my birthday was April 29th. I said, as a birthday present to
Oh,
myself, I'm going to do what I set out to do. And I drew a line in the sand. I said, nothing is going to get in the way of me leaving April 30th. Well, in Judaism, they have a beautiful saying. They say, man plans and God laughs. And I think she laughed very hard because right around that time is when COVID-19 came. Nobody
mm,
was going anywhere. I couldn't go anywhere. And I thought, I'm going to have these conversations virtually. And I put out notes saying to people, let's have a conversation. I wanted to come and see you in your town. Crickets. Nobody replied. But when I put out that I wanted to have 50 conversations with 50 strangers, I was inundated with people saying, I love that idea. I want to do that. So I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for participating in this conversation because the conversations have been beautiful and they are all over the world. I'm having. I'm talking to Nigeria and India and Europe and South Africa and South America. And so every continent I've spoken to now. And I just want to keep these conversations going because they're really beautiful. So, short of me making this a monologue, I just want to now shut up and have it be about you. So, Lovely, when you came on, I asked you how you are. And how are you is such an easy question to say, I'm great, I'm doing well. And most of us hear that and we just go right on and say yes. But we're living in crazy times right now. We've got a virus that's keeping us all, affecting us all in one way or another. Over here in America, I don't know if it's made its way there. There are race protests where people of color are saying, "Hey, we deserve to be. We want to have a voice too, and Black lives do matter, brown lives do matter. Every life matters, right? But they're standing up to say our lives matter." A couple of years ago, we had a Me Too movement that is still going strong, where women are standing up and saying, we don't want to be treated the way you've always treated us. And it seems like the very foundations of some of the belief systems we have, we're being asked to relook at. How are you doing with all that?
So first of all, I can say that, I'm really doing well because the first motto of my life is to focus on the positives because negativity is always around you. And, the more you focus on the negative, the more it pulls you down. And that is when you start feeling you can start feeling low. All the thoughts that come to your mind, more than it's happening outside, it's happening in your head and you start making stories. So with my own past experiences and the ups and the downs that I have seen in life, so this is one thing I can say that life has taught me, and I religiously follow that.
I love that. And for listeners who are listening, I want you to just rewind and hear what Lovely just said. Because it doesn't really matter what she's saying, and question yourself on this. Does it really matter what's happening outside of your head if you control the inner space within your head? Can you maintain a positive environment within the confines of your own mind? And if you can, what might that do for you? How might you start feeling when you feel down? I love that, Lovely. Tell us what's important to you.
What's important to me, I can say peace is most important to me because when I'm at peace, I feel satisfied, I feel happy, and I feel motivated to do more things. So that's one thing that I always seek and I want to give out.
And you want to give up? I lost the last word.
So I'm saying that I want to, spread more peace, maybe wherever I can solve the chaos, or, help friends, help family, or help people around in whichever way possible.
I love that. And I bet there are a lot of people listening that would like to feel more peace, spread more peace, be more in peace. But some of them are getting caught up in the confines of what's happening outside of their mind. And
absolutely.
Putting one on top of another, staying positive in your mind, spreading peace. How do you recommend people do that if they have been caught up in the world around them and they want to spread peace, but they just get caught in the fighting that's going on because it's so strong?
I think I will give the advice which I have followed and, things that have worked out for me. All the people watching this video, they can at least give it a try. These things worked out for me. First is the choice of the music. What I have seen is that a lot of people, would pick up a sad song when they are sad, when they are feeling low. So first of all, you need to be conscious about the choice of your music because that actually has the power to uplift your mood and change it. When you will constantly listen to something different and more positive, slowly and gradually your mind will start settling down and the negative thoughts will start settling down. So that is one thing I totally recommend. Be conscious about the choice of your music when you are upset. I mean, otherwise you can enjoy. You are free to enjoy. It's a free world. And second thing is that when you are depressed, consciously don't read negative news stories, because I mean, I do understand there is a lot of unrest, and people are dying because of COVID. I do understand that there are a lot of sufferings, but sometimes for maybe half an hour, switching off yourself consciously from these negative news stories might just help you to regain all the energy back. It has
Right.
worked for me. I do that.
I love that. So, again, for those people who are listening, jump into the conversation. Do you have little touchstones within your life where you pull out of the things that are going on outside of you and just go back inside and recharge? Do you realize? Everybody realizes the power of music. You can hear a song. I was just listening to the Beatles' Revolution song from the 60s, and I was immediately transported back to where I was in those days, and it
Yeah.
immediately brings you to this place. And the words to the song that I just heard before we got on this call, um, and if you talk about destruction, count me out. Because he didn't. John Lennon was saying, like, when he first wrote it, he said, "Count me out / in," because he didn't know if he wanted to be involved in a revolution that would destroy the world. But then
Yes.
when he thought about it, he said, "Count me out. I don't want to be involved in a revolution of destruction. I want to be in a revolution of construction that really brings something." But music is such a powerful vehicle. So thank you for sharing that with us. We don't even know what you do, but if money weren't important to you, would you be doing what you're doing now?
Actually, there's a part of me which is actually doing something wherein I'm not getting money out of it, but I'm getting a satisfaction because I'm following my passion. I have a small YouTube channel, and I love to make videos and share ideas. And the entire idea of that channel is, to get different people to share their expertise that they've gathered. Because, what I have realized is that while internet is vast and there is so much information out there, most of it might not be correct, or there is a lot of confusion, like which is the right information. So the mission that I'm following with that channel is to bring the right information from experts. So I am very happy, no money gained, but just peace, satisfaction, and passion being followed.
Love it. Let's go into a fun place, and I don't even know if in India these are as prevalent as they are in the United States. But let's try the first one. Are you a dog person or a cat person?
Dog.
Dog. Okay. Coffee or tea?
Tea, any time of the day.
Tea anytime.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Would you say you are more conservative in the way you live your life or more liberal in the way you live your life?
I can say it's a mix of both, because I'm liberal when I want to give myself that space, and I'm conservative when I don't want to give myself that space. So it's like a thought process which goes inside my head all the time. So yeah.
So, what makes you want to give your space to be liberal and not want to give your space to be liberal, or want to give your space to be conservative?
I can say, like, for example, I'm a little traditional in my thought process when it comes to relationships. I still believe it's a beautiful idea to be in love and being married. It's a beautiful idea to be loyal to somebody and stay with somebody. So it's a little, people might call it a conservative, thought process, wherein there is Tinder. I should not call the names. There are different dating websites. However, deep down, we all seek that one partner or that one person in life who would genuinely love us. I mean, no matter how many people are there on the dating websites, everyone desires love and true love. So that thought process is a little conservative, if anybody would call it. And liberal, I can say, is when I still want to try new things and be with the pace of this changing world, so that I'm not left out. So that's like trying to keep a balance between the values that I have gained from my family and my parents, and the changing environment, which is drastically changing around me, I can say.
Yeah. Fabulous. I love that. Would you say you're shy or outgoing?
I'm not shy.
You're not shy.
Outgoing. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And have you always felt like you fit into the world, or have you always felt a little bit different?
Always felt I do not fit into this world. Sometimes I
Okay.
feel I belong to the 70s or the 80s era. because I do have that thought processes, wherein I would say that, okay, maybe, when I say no to, say, a couple of partner swapping websites, when somebody would ask me to register because of the thought process. So that is when I'm looked upon, okay, sorry, you're not fitting in this circle. But somehow I love, following the ideology that has been passed on, and I'm very happy with that. So sometimes, and also the way I work. So, yeah.
So one of the things that's happened for me is I'm gathering data through the questions that I ask. And one of the things, the data points that I've been surprised at is that question that I just asked you. I thought that more people would say they fit into the world than that they were different.
Really?
I mean, I'm different, but I think I always thought everybody else would fit into the world. And what I'm finding is huge numbers. I mean, in the 90s percentages of people, probably even 95% of the people, and maybe it's just the people that are being drawn to me, but people are saying they always feel a little bit different. So I wonder if you have any thoughts on why, when people feel different naturally than the world and feel a little bit different than the people in the world around them, why do we try so hard to make people fit into boxes that we ourselves don't fit into?
So if I have to answer your question, like why do people feel that they do not fit into this world, then I can say that nowadays everyone has become, extremely independent with the amount of exposure available and internet and media and exchange of information has become so fast that people have developed their own thought processes. Everyone has their own definitions of life, definitions of what is right and what is wrong, and when I see that, those definitions don't fit in, that is when, we feel that we do not fit into this world, because that is what I have felt. A lot of times your definition of something, a right or wrong, a black or a white, might not just fit into the person you're talking to. Then you suddenly feel out of the place. Oh, sorry, am I the only odd one out? Something like that. So maybe it's the exchange of information, fast-paced exchange of information, and also the ability to have independent thought processes, at least in more developing countries, and third world countries. I can say that this is becoming more and more now, more than the developed countries that I can talk about.
So my question really isn't why do people feel that they don't fit in? My question is why do people who don't fit in try and fit other people into boxes when they themselves don't fit in?
Because I think teaching is easier than following.
I see. So that leads to somewhat of an, does that lead to an unauthentic reality then for people? If we're
I can say
teaching
yes.
something we don't follow, then that doesn't seem very authentic, right? Interesting.
Absolutely.
Would you say you're a giver or a receiver?
I would say both.
Oh.
Because if you will keep, being a human being and being very honest about it, you could be a giver if you are, say, in a loving relationship, and you could be a receiver if you are working for a corporate. It has to be, a give and take kind of a relationship.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you give is when you're respected, and sometimes when you receive is when you are respected.
Which do you err on the side of?
More of the giver side, I can say, because that's the feeling I always have. If I don't want to use a certain thing in my life, I would rather pass it on to somebody who might just need it. So that's how I have been conditioned all my life, I can say. So, yeah.
So one of the things that I find, and I'm just tossing it over the net, is that a lot of times people that are givers are not that great at receiving. So I'm very intrigued by the fact that you say you're both. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And so does that come across your way as well? Do you sometimes feel like it's hard for you to receive?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Which is why I have often told myself, that when you are giving something, this is also a life lesson which I learned after a lot of ups and downs, that when you are giving something, you should never have expectations of receiving anything back.
Yeah.
Because as Gautam Buddha said, expectations lead to sorrow. So this is what I keep reminding myself whenever I'm practicing something wherein I have to give something to someone, a teaching, a lesson, or an item, no expectations.
And I love that because that's unconditional giving. Do you also practice unconditional receiving?
Nobody is ready to give that way. So I wish I meet more people like that.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, how would you entice the world to unconditionally to allow you to unconditionally receive? Would you wait for people to give unconditionally giving so that you could unconditionally receive? Or would you hold the
Um,
space that I am willing to unconditionally receive? I am willing to receive with no obligation to give back. Just I'm willing to receive for the sheer joy of allowing you to give me something and for me to experience what you're giving me without any thought that I have to give back. I may want to give back. I may love to give back, but I want to just receive you. I want to just hold you without any thought of not having to give you anything in return.
um, to answer that question, I would say that, about giving and receiving fact, like giving should always be unconditional. This is one thing I can always say. And when it comes to receiving, be thankful to whatever you receive. Because ultimately, I believe in this concept very strongly. It's your karma, because it's your karma. Whatever you are receiving, it's your karma. Today, I have a house to live in, or I have all the basic facilities, it's something that I have received. And it's all because of my karmas. And if they are really good and strong, and if I've done something really unconditionally, I think I'll keep meeting great people and I will keep receiving great things in life. And as human beings, we have a tendency of never acknowledging whatever we receive. I mean, even if we get a glass half full of water, we will always see the other half, which is not full. So
Yeah,
maybe it's more about changing the perception and mindset to realize and be happy with whatever you receive, to feel content.
love that. Love that. Do you speak more or listen more?
I'm sure you must have understood that. I do both, but maybe I speak more. Maybe that's the side effect of the job I do.
And what job do you do? Because we don't have any idea what you do.
Uh, yeah, as I said, like I host chat shows
Oh, so you
or
do
maybe
that.
talk to people. Yeah.
Okay, so that's
Just
your job.
generally. And also, I've been a journalist. So,
I got you. Perfect.
yeah.
Do you believe that if you had the opportunity, both of these are really important? Do you believe that it's more important for you right now to be able to stand up and have a platform for you to say what's on your mind and be heard? Or do you believe it's more
um,
important for you to hold a platform for people to say what's on their mind and listen to them?
I would choose the second one, okay, because I think that when you portray yourself like an expert, nobody wants to listen to you because in their head they are an expert. So when you give them a platform and you give them a chance to be an expert, that is when they feel more satisfied and they want to open up more and and in return listen to you more respectfully. So this is what I can say.
And and I'm amazed also in the data that I'm gathering because I created this whole series because I felt like everybody has a voice and wants to be heard. And yet the majority, huge majority, again, say I would rather create a platform for other people to listen to other people. And so it's really interesting to me because on the question of giving versus receiving, most people are better at giving than receiving. And on the question of speaking their truth versus giving a platform, they're more open to receiving. So there are a lot of things that don't like fall into the scales of what I thought was going to happen. Um, I understand that you want to listen to people, but is there also something you really want to say to people?
If I have experienced a similar situation in life and if I have dealt with it and I have come out, of that, low phases or probably dealt with the problem, And if I have that advice, as I said in the starting of the video, I can give the suggestion, not the advice. Because what, again, a lesson that I've learned in life is when you advise somebody, nobody wants to listen. But when you suggest, that is when people are more open to listen.
Yeah.
It's just the words, that play the game.
And I want to sort of throw that back at you a little bit, okay? Because I don't even think that you have to suggest or advise. I just think you have to share. Like, what happens if for me,
Yeah.
the beauty of a mosaic is none of the pieces try and teach each other what to say. They don't try and advise or counsel or share. They simply just come together, and the coming together of the pieces all into one thing, everything gets stronger, everything gets better. So if you were to just speak your mind without having to give advice or share, but just for the sheer joy of being able to say what you wanted to say, for the sheer joy of saying what you want to say, whether anybody's listening or not listening, what would you say?
What would I say?
Yeah.
I would say that I'm grateful to God for whatever He has given me, because I'm living a very happy and satisfied life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Are you a person that operates more from your head or from your heart?
Again, it's a mix of both. Over the period of time, I was somebody who was more emotional, used to think from the heart. And I have faced, a lot of, you can say, as I said, the downs in my life because of that choices that I've made through heart, because they were very, very honest. That is when I taught myself in the growing up years, whatever decision, is about the matters of heart needs to be taken from the mind, and the matters of the mind needs to be taken from the heart. And it is through practice that I've now implemented the same. I do the same now. Still more governed by emotions.
Still, what? Say that again?
So I can say the matters of heart, the mind decides. The matter of mind, the heart decides. Still, emotions have an upper hand to some extent.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think people have do you think we've forgotten how to feel?
Maybe yes.
What do you think's causing that?
The baggage of the past.
Let me make it more personal if I can, and you don't have to answer.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you've forgotten a little bit how to feel?
Somewhere, yes. I would accept that very honestly. Maybe a certain part, a certain situation is like, okay, probably I just want to use my brain and not the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would it take for you right now in this very safe space that you're in to just leave your mind parked on the side for a minute and just feel with me right here?
To just leave my mind, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the last one.
To leave your mind parked by the side of the road just for a minute, and in this very safe room, just allow yourself to actually feel what you feel. Because to me, you're a very intelligent woman. You have a beautifully brilliant mind.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And I can feel your mind working. And
Yeah.
I feel like in conversation with you right now, I feel like your heart is crying out to me, help her to feel me. Does that make any sense to you?
Oh, it does. Every word that you say it's making sense.
Okay, thank you for confirming that, because I took a risk.
No, absolutely. You're on the right tracks. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah. So if you didn't have to be right and didn't have to be intelligent and didn't have to give the right answers, not that you're trying to give the right answers. I believe everything you're saying is based on your experience, and they're beautiful answers. Mm. But slide your mind to the right for a minute for the rest of this conversation and see what happens if you would answer the questions from your heart. Will you try that with me?
Absolutely. I have been answering through heart, as I said. Emotions always overtake. Yeah.
Okay.
But yes, let's try this.
I love that. So funny enough, the question that we're on is trust. Is it easy for you to do or hard for you to do?
If broken, then it's very difficult to give it back to someone. Otherwise, by default, I give it on the first place.
Gotcha. So when someone breaks your trust, why has it become so hard for you to give it to them again?
See, because I feel, first of all, trust is earned, as I said, and uh, the person who has your trust, it's not just the trust, it's a lot of emotions that you invest in that person. Be it any relationship, be it respect, be it love, or be it anything. So I think it's very much mutual that a certain amount of dignity and respect is shown if somebody is trusting you,
Yeah.
giving you that leverage to be a part of their life in any way. And I think if somebody can't respect that, there's no point. You should never make investments where you are not going to get any kind of returns in relationships. I'm not
Right.
talking about financial markets here.
Are you able? Do you know what an overhead projector is? Have you ever heard of an
Overhead.
overhead projector? Have you ever heard of that? It was a piece
I
of.
have heard of overhead transmission,
Uh,
which the term we used to use in college.
okay, so it's a machine that has light
Mm-hmm.
coming up from it and a little pole that with it takes what the image.
Oh, yes.
You put these plastic sheets on it.
Yes, yes,
It's one of
yes.
my favorite images, but it's like from the dinosaur time. So a lot of people, the younger people, don't get it. If you would, so you understand what that I'm talking about, that the image I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
I want to put a couple pieces of plastic sheets on your overhead projector.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The first one I want is something I think you said, and you can correct me on any of these if I'm wrong. Is coming out of the gate, I give people trust right off. When they break my trust, then it's harder for me to give. I don't give it to them so easily. But I want to just leave the first part. Coming out of the gate, I give people trust instinctively. Then I want you to put on another piece of plastic sheet. People have to earn trust. I believe people have to earn trust to be trusted. And I want you to put that over. Coming out of the gate, I give people trust instinctively.
Mm.
And then I want you to put on when people lose my trust, I don't believe I should have to trust them again, because that's something that they've taken advantage of, and they've hurt me, or done whatever they've done. You know the concept I'm saying. I'm not saying exactly the words.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
And then I want to put over that, unconditional giving is what we all should do.
Mm.
And I want you to tell me what the images of all those, does that cast a clear image on the screen in front of you from the overhead projector, taking all those sheets?
Yes, 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 absolutely.
It does cast a clear image for you?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Because I can relate to each and every point which I've said. Like, for example, when you say that, when I said that I give trust to people, instantly for the first time. Like, for example, like me talking to a stranger, for example, it's my trust that, he will respect my time, and so will I, right?
Right.
So it's the first hand trust that you have to, like, for example, you're buying an item.
So pause with me for a minute.
Yeah.
So you're doing that with me right now. But I didn't earn any trust from you. You just instinctively gave it to me. But you have another belief system that trust has to be earned.
Yes. Yes.
So how come...
I can answer that.
Please, I would love to hear that. Because I want to understand how you think.
Oh my God. I'll tell you. Like, for example, as I said, I don't know about other people, but so what I do is that I believe in this entire concept of vibes. Okay. When you look at somebody's picture, when you look at somebody's body language, you get this vibe. Okay.
Wow.
That your chakras and probably your chakras, somehow you get this positive vibe. That is when you're like, I can trust this person.
Right.
And then there's your intuition, which is telling you, okay, you just need to be really careful. That is when I come up on the second point, that this person needs to earn my trust.
Gotcha.
So I do look at the photographs. I ask myself, what kind of vibe I'm getting from this person. If I get very positive vibes, I trust them. And in case I have, certain kind of doubts, or if I feel this person might not have the right thought process, or might not be a good person in the sense, have good intentions towards others, that is when I say that I do give a chance to everybody, because I feel until unless you give a chance, they will never have, I might be wrong. My judgments might be wrong, and I always keep this. So I give them a chance to earn that trust. And as I said, if trust is broken, then I have to evaluate that person, and I do evaluate that person. The past data, as we do in data analysis, what has been the situation? Is it the first time, or is it a recurring habit? So if I see it's a recurring habit, then you don't get it back. If I see it's a mistake and you are genuinely sorry about what you feel, then please, I give you another chance and earn it if you can. It's simple.
Beautiful. And I'm often so happy that I ask people to explain, because it makes perfect sense now. Something that did not make sense to me before. Let me ask you about trust and breaking trust as a possible illness that people have. That if people are sick and they just get sick, and you try and take care of them and they still get sick, do you stop taking care of them?
See, sickness, like for example, physical or mental, obviously no. But, somewhere I'm sure that, like for example, when somebody is sick and you're taking care of them, okay, you expect the person to at least listen to you. Because if you are sick and if you're not following the right, say for example, advices that the doctor wants.
Pause there.
Yeah.
Because I was with you up until that point. When they're sick and you're taking care of them, you expect them to listen to you and do what you say to do. But there's so many people that get sick, and they just can't even control themselves. Like, one of the big things that happened, let me try and ask you the question that I'm really trying to ask. Years ago, I got really hurt, and I went to my teacher.
Okay.
And I said, that person really hurt me. And they said, I so understand, and why wouldn't you be hurt from what they did? But they have a sickness. They can't control themselves from what they're doing. Their intention wasn't to hurt you. It's just a sickness that makes them respond in an anger, or makes them respond in a certain way. And when they respond that way, that's the time that they need your love more than anything. It's almost as if they're saying to you, will you still love me? I need somebody to unconditionally love me. Will you still love me when I push you to the brink of what's possible for you? And you don't have to. My teacher said you don't have to. Most people will walk away way before it gets to that place. But there's the rare man or woman who can walk through that, not thinking about what's happening to them, but thinking about what the other person needs you to give to them, without any karma yoga, without any attachment to the result of your action. Can you do that? And it doesn't matter if you can or can't. It matters that you just acknowledge that you can or you can't right now. And what is that in that mind, that beautiful mind that you set your intention? What is the intention of that beautiful mind? Is it that that's the person you want to be, or that's not the person you want to be? And but there's no right answer. Do you see where I'm going with it? Tell me your thoughts.
So I can say that, as you said, if somebody is sick, like for example, let's take an example of anger. There are people who have anxiety and anger issues. For example, if they get angry, they don't know what they're doing. They might hurt somebody, and another moment they realize what they've done. what I can say is that, okay, I'll tell you, this is very, very important for everybody. I feel that, like, for example, unconditional loving is important, but unconditional loving will give you, and it will definitely give you a certain amount of sorrows. It is gratifying. I'm not saying it's not gratifying. It's a package deal. It will come with a lot of gratification along with a lot of sorrow and pain. Love, I feel, is another word. It's like any kind of attachment it will lead you to sorrow, as said Gautam Buddha. So you have to be ready and mentally prepared for that. If you have the strength to go through that, go ahead. If you don't have the strength, then what will happen if you are in a situation like that, then two lives get spoiled. I mean, you spoil your own
Yeah.
mental peace, because you're not prepared to deal with that, and the other person still remains vulnerable. So it requires you to get prepared more to be able to be in that situation and give unconditionally and deal with that person, depending who he or she is.
Listeners, I want you to jump into the conversation and just like this is such beautiful, rich conversation. It's very real and honest. And I want you to find, where do you sit in this conversation? Where are you? Are you able to do it, or are you not able to do it? Are you able to accept the fact that you can't do it and love yourself even though you can't do it? Are you able to love yourself even if you can do it? Are you sitting in the midst of a lot of pain because you want to unconditionally love? And you're willing to experience that pain because you want your love to be unconditional. And can you unconditionally love yourself in the pain that you're in for being unconditionally loving somebody else, right? What we say, right? Very rich questions here. All right. Do you instinctively believe that people are more similar than they are different, or more different than they are similar?
I think that if you want to have a connection with someone, you genuinely desire that. That is when your mind and the other person's mind will start focusing on the similarities. However, if your entire goal is to not be with somebody, then your brain starts focusing on the differences. So similarities and differences, finding similarities or differences depends on your ultimate goal. That is when your brain starts focusing on that.
Love it. Would you say you're a leader or a follower?
I am a leader. I make my own path most of the times.
So I'm going to use an American example, which may not be relevant to you at all, but I think the example's still relevant. We're going through a very big, crazy time around the election process of a president right now.
Yeah.
Without deciding one side or another, whatever people believe is fine for them to believe. I definitely have my own set of beliefs, but I'm not trying to change anybody's belief system.
Mm.
We elect people to be our leaders.
Mm.
And what happens is, from my own point of view, and I want to see if this is what you believe also, that those leaders then become leaders within the silo of where they lead. So they get within their party, whether it's the Republican Party or the Democratic Party, or whether it's people that are environmentalists or people that aren't environment, whatever their silo is that they fill themselves up with, they basically go within that silo, and it's almost it seems as if they lose their ability to lead, because they don't stand up within that silo to say, gosh, we're doing this great, but this is really bad what we're doing. And it seems like very few people, fewer and few people now, have the courage to stand up to the momentum of their silo and say, we're not doing this right, guys or girls. And it doesn't matter if it's Democrat or Republican. It doesn't matter if it's environmentalists or, rape the earth people, whatever the other side of that is.
Yeah.
I didn't mean it to sound that, And I was having a conversation in this room with another stranger. And as I was in the conversation and I was listening, what I realized was, within my own self, I realized, like, I really like the person I am. I'm very happy with this guy that's sitting here. But there's some little things that I don't like about myself. And I try so hard sometimes to change those little things, but the momentum of my belief systems carries me so much that sometimes I don't stand up to the momentum of my own belief systems. And I realize the inside is manifesting the outside. So just like I don't have the courage to stand up to the voices within me that have me doing things that aren't wrong, I might say they're wrong, but I don't have the courage to stand up and change them. The people outside of me aren't doing that. So it isn't somebody that's outside. It's a visual that's visually representing me. I guess my question is, do you have the courage to stand up to the momentum of who you are when you find things that you don't like about yourself? I know the easy answer is yes, but I'm not asking you to give me the answer I want to hear. I'm asking you to give me the real answer.
Absolutely, yes. Yes, I do have the courage. I often acknowledge, the weaknesses I have, and I think it's very important to be in touch with your conscious, because I feel you will never be able to lie, and I do acknowledge that. The people who are very close to me, you know, they know that at least I would acknowledge what is not right in me, and in that particular area of life, I would let somebody I trust, lead if required, because I think as a good leader you should understand what is right in you. You can lead whenever required, and when you are not perfect in that sector, you should have the trust in your team to to maybe take the responsibility and lead on your behalf, because leaders become leaders because they have a strong team and supporters. Without them, I mean, you are just an independent person, you are not a leader. So yeah.
All right, I love it. I love the way your clarity guides your conversation. It's really
Yeah, thanks so
beautiful.
much.
It's really beautiful to see some clarity like that. Do you believe, you said you wanted to be able to create a platform to listen to other people speak. Do you,
Yes.
do you believe things other than people speak? Do you believe adamant and inanimate objects speak? I.e., do you believe our body speaks to us? Do you believe the God speaks to us through the universe? Do you believe that the environment is speaking to us? Do you believe that our businesses speak to us? Do you believe that there are voices that our friends say to us that are trying to speak to us that sometimes we hear or don't hear?
I can definitely relate to the point that like God speaks to us. Like for example, whatever natural calamities that we see around us, it's the way of nature telling us that we humans are destroying the planet day by day. So that is one voice of it. Brands do speak to us through advertising. Okay, that's direct or indirect. Constantly, they are speaking to us. It's a conversation which is happening. So yes, I do believe in this fact point that you said, that they do speak to us.
So, with all the calamities that are going on right now, even though you maintain a positive mindset,
Hmm.
what do you think the world's trying to say to us now?
I'm sorry, could you repeat your last line?
What do you think the world is trying to say to us now with all the calamities that are going on in the world?
So I can say, that I have seen here in India is that now everyone has gone back and has started living with their families and parents now. Okay, because of jobs, we all had left our parents back in our hometown, and we had gone to the metro cities where we were working. In fact, I also, I was visiting my parents often. Yet after 14 years, I got a chance to live with them for a month. So now I think that the world, the nature is trying to tell us that we need to slow down a bit. We are in a hurry, and it will take us nowhere. Relationship is what matters, and start acknowledging that. So this is the message which I have, maybe seeked out of the current calamity,
Beautiful.
pandemic rather. Yeah.
Yeah. What surprises you in the world that you see?
What surprises me? Okay. When something unexpected happens, which is in a good way. Yeah.
So, what would be one thing that is unexpected that's happened that has surprised you?
Oh my God. If I have to, my very first job assignment, I could say that was something extremely unexpected. In fact, that's a very interesting story. If I have the time, I would love to share briefly
Yeah.
that. Yeah, as a young girl, there were different television shows in India, which wherein a family which wins the lucky draw, they used to give them a holiday in a foreign country. You can travel all free and all of that. So as a young kid watching all those shows, I had this dream. I don't know why, that my first foreign trip to any other country would be free of cost, and I will make sure I get it. So I don't know why. I mean, so for somebody, probably it's a big deal. Still, it's a big deal
Totally.
to travel the world and maybe different places and all of that. So in fact, I was 21 when I got selected from Turkish embassy to travel to Turkey and cover their destination and write stories along with 5 other journalists who were very, very senior to me. So that was my very first assignment. When I sat into a plane, I traveled abroad for 7 days, and that too for work, and so much of respect being the youngest. So that is one big surprise. I still ask myself, why did they select me? I was only
Right.
21. I mean, there were so many senior journalists. I don't know what did they like, but I mean, I still get surprised, and I'm still thankful to God that happened.
Love
So
it.
yeah,
Love it.
yeah.
I want to thank you, Lovely, for being here with us, for sharing so much of yourself. I want to thank those people who listen to these shows regularly, for listening regularly. If you like what you see, share it with people you like, because that's the way things grow. When we like something and we tell people we like that we like it, then maybe they have a chance to like it too, and maybe they'll share it with people they like. So if you like it, please share it around. And I want to ask all of you to have a challenge. Lovely and I came into this room not knowing anything about each other. We're leaving this room. We came in as strangers, and I think we're leaving this room on the path to friendship. I feel
Yes.
like she's my friend, and I feel like I want to have lots more conversations with her. Look what can happen in just a short period of time where you talk to someone that you never knew before. We are not all that different from each other. And when we spend the time to just listen to what another person believes, and I pushed her a little bit on some things, but she was lovely. She was just right there with me, and she just, answered what she answered, which is what I wanted her to do. But when we take the time to just listen to another person and really try and understand what they're saying, they become our friends. And we get to understand the way they think, and we see the world through another set of eyes. When we live in a world of strangers, we live in a strange world. But when we live in a world of friends, we live in a friendly world. Which world do you want to live in? I want to challenge each of you right now to go out and find someone you don't know. It can be online, it can be in person. And just invite them into a conversation. Why not? Why not just give somebody else the opportunity to share with you what they believe? I want to start a revolution of listening, where we listen to each other, where we take the time to be with each other and care enough about each other. You don't need to have a college degree. You don't need to be ordained in a particular religious practice. All you need to do is love people and care enough about people to listen to what they say. You don't even have to believe like them. But when you love and accept people, when you listen to them and hear them, when you acknowledge and validate what they said, you don't need to agree with them. Nobody's going to ask. In 65 years of being alive, no one's ever asked me to believe like they believe. When they feel loved and accepted, acknowledged and heard and validated and heard, listened to and heard, they're my friend. Lovely, is there one last thing you want to say before we leave?
I would say that it was wonderful speaking to you and everyone who was watching this video. As you said, I will just repeat the same: go and talk to more people around. I think that's a very beautiful thought. The more people you know, the more comfortable you feel in this world. You don't feel left out. As we discussed in the starting of this video, nobody feels that they're fitting in. Probably you will start fitting in more with people around you, and yeah, spread more peace, uh, have more positive choices in life, be conscious about them, and be more grateful to whatever you receive. Somebody else might not be receiving whatever you have.
And you're going to send me your links to all the things. So if people want to get in touch with you and be more involved with you, they can do that. Is there one place in particular you want to tell people about before we get off?
Sure. I have a YouTube channel. You can go and subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can follow me and stay in touch. It's Anchor Lovely Mehrotra. Same as the name on Instagram and Facebook. I would love to be in touch with every one of you.
Perfect. And we'll put all those in the show notes because you'll send those to me, okay? Thank
Sure.
you again for your time. Thank you for those of you who listen. And until the next stranger comes into the room, you don't be strangers to each other. Start to invite each other to conversations and be friends with each other. The world we live in will change when we start to do that. One friendship at a time. Stranger to friend. How beautiful. Thank you again, everybody, for listening. We'll see you next time a stranger comes into this room. Until soon, take care. God bless. Bye.